Sorry guys, had to move, couldn't really hear anything.
We encourage them to kind of venture out and see what's around the next corner. So their first obstacle is to climb over one of these blocks. Now when they're a little puppy, that's a big obstacle, but we'll help them out if they can't quite make it. And
sorry for the shakiness too.
You can see these pups right here have no problem getting up and over those blocks, and they've far outgrown this small area. So we started taking them down next to the river, you know, down a big bank there, maybe even into the boat. They can crawl around. Learn that we'll never ask them to do anything that they can't do.
Well, now this is a pretty small yard. Confidence building aside, when they get bigger and they really have mastered this, what do you do to take them to the next level?
Well, we start taking them on their daily walks in the woods. That's a lot of fun. We take the entire litter and their mother and maybe some of our older retired dogs like Hooslia and Kibby, who are definitely full of energy this morning. And we'll go out onto some of our training trails and encounter all kinds of obstacles out there. Big banks to climb up, more water to go through, tall grass. And they just continue learning that confidence, and they also learn to follow the older dogs. Because when we give the older dogs, you know, call them to come back to us, the puppies follow them, and they learn that our voice means something.
Well, they also learn to appreciate that the older dogs can lead, and they trust them. So there's a sort of, I guess Dave Munson calls it a trust and be trusted relationship there. Well, you look at these dogs, and you got to wonder, the American Kennel Club have a high opinion of these? Would they make it to the Westminster Dog Show?
Well, they wouldn't quite fit in there. These are Alaskan Huskies, and they're not, they're not bred for show, so we don't care what color they are. And they're not bred with standards. And all we're looking for is the performance and athletic ability, and also the loving of running and pulling.
Well, now I'm seeing the puppies heading back to the dog barn, and the Hallelujah Chorus is breaking out here with this group tied up to that four-wheeler. What is our training exercise this morning?
Well, nice cool morning like this morning. We're going to take the team out for a half mile behind the lake, and since we don't have snow here, we're going to hook them up to this four-wheeler. Now the four-wheeler has no engine. We don't need any extra power, and it has a very good set of brakes. It can be difficult to stop the dogs sometimes. But up here in the lead, we have Hark and Genghis. Now, Hark and Genghis are two fairly experienced leaders. And sometimes if we're training leaders, we'll put a younger, less experienced dog next to an older one, and that's how we train the young dogs. And behind the lead dogs, we have your swing dogs. Now they usually also lead to training, or you can never have too many lead dogs on the team. So we run our extra leaders and swing and switch around their positions. Behind the swing dogs, we have our team dogs. I'm only running 8 dogs this morning, so I will have 2 team dogs. But say I wanted to run 10, maybe 12 dogs in the team, I just add more team dogs into the lineup here. Now on the right back, we have our wheel dogs. Now they're the dogs that get the bulk of the weight of the sled when you're going around. So we usually run our larger, more powerful dogs back there. I'm going to go ahead and finish hooking up the team and check them right before we take off.
All right, thank you. And right there where she's hooking up the dogs, those are the team dogs. They can lengthen that gang line and have as many as 20 dogs. That'd be 10 pairs, putting the leads out in front of that fence over there. And that means that command by voice has to be well taken. It has to be understood by the leads. That can be very well trained. If you look close to that four-wheeler, as she mentioned, there's no motor in that. This is all going to be dog power. That four-wheeler with a person on it weighs about 600 pounds, and it is tied to the ground. It also has an exceptional set of brakes on it. But you can see they don't need any more power, so the motor has been removed. Now you're going to see the dogs in a moment, way over the far side of that lake. We'll go over the top of these gals, and you'll see the base of that timber. There's a road, and it'll be on television. But listen how quiet they get when they get to take off out of here. And then we'll hear from Molly Kozlowski, too, about the dogs and a little comparison for you.
Ready?
They were ready to go. They just needed that command. That is 100% dog power. They are off and running. Molly, I want to go to you for just a moment here on shore. Compare what we just saw at the beginning of the Iditarod.
Well, Alyssa has no shortage of power with these 8 dogs this morning, and they are ready to go. But when we start Iditarod, we'll start with a team of 16 dogs. So if you can imagine 80 teams of 16 dogs, a cold March morning, everybody ready to go down the trail. It's loud, it's chaotic, and it's a lot of fun.
Over 20 1,200 dogs at the beginning of the race, and it's an amazing thing to witness. We thank you, Molly. We'll get back in a moment, but now look over the top of the dog yard, the heavy timber. You see a straight line, that is a road over there, and we'll have it on television, but we also have the radio on. We'll see if she gets back to us.
Pulling hard this morning, and they're having a great time on this cool morning, and everybody's working hard, pulling evenly. That's really important when you work together as a team. Everybody needs to do their share, and it makes life fun. They're coming up to command.
Now she's breaking up, but what she said was they're coming to a right turn here, and you heard her say the word G. And G is a right turn. The dogs take that. They're going to the far end of the lake. They're going to circle and come back on that same trail. So keep your eyes on that far side over the dog yard, and we'll get that back on television in a minute. But right now, back to Molly on shore. And we mentioned a little bit ago the voice command being important for the lead dogs to hear that. Why is the verbal connection so important?
Well, we rely solely on voice commands to communicate with our leaders. We have no reins or lines to guide these dogs, no direct connection. So it's G for right and haw for left. We never know what's around the next bend in the trail. There could be open water, glare ice, overflow, a moose in the trail sometimes. So we spend a lot of time working with our dogs, teaching them these commands, building a trusting relationship with them so that they'll trust us and we'll trust them to get past all the obstacles on the trail.
All right, thank you very much, Molly. Now, they made the turn. They're back on television here. They're kind of behind the dog barn for us from here. But you watch, that's that big building on the right. As they come to the left-hand end of that on the far side, you'll see them in a long straight stretch.
And the dogs know that we're on our way back to the kennel. They
There they
have
are.
plenty of speed and energy in reserve. That's important, especially when you're out racing, to have a little bit of reserve saved for the end.
All right, now she's going to bring them back in here in just a moment. But Molly, what are some other commands? G is right, haw is left. But what about speed commands and things like that?
Well, we also have a whoa command on these dogs. They don't like that one very much, and we need our brake in order to stop the sled. We can ask them to speed up. We also have an easy command to get them to slow down a bit. And we have on by. So if we're coming up to a team, passing head on, or coming up behind another team, we can tell our leaders on by, and they'll take us right past.
All right, thank you very much. By the way, Molly has skipped a year at Cornell University to run the Iditarod this year and did a very fine job out there. But here from Susan Butcher's Trailbreaker Kennels, how about it for the dogs? And Alyssa Quayle. Thank you, Alyssa. Now they look like they go right out again. They look like they got big smiles on their faces. But you watch, they're going to turn them loose to do a little exercise. What are you doing right now, Alyssa?
Well, every single one of these dogs did a great job. They all get praise, and afterwards everybody likes a little playtime.
Well, and a couple are hitting the flowers and a couple are hitting the showers over here. They come right down to the river. Why is the water so important to them?
Well, in the summertime, it does get pretty warm here, so we have to be careful not to run them too hard on the four-wheeler. So we use the water for summertime training. Now we'll take a bunch of dogs and stick them in our boat, go down to the islands on the Tanana, and let them all run loose. It's a great time. They have a lot of fun running, and we have a lot of fun chasing them. If they get too hot, they'll just jump in the river for a quick swim to cool off. So that's probably our favorite way to train in the summertime.
All right, well, nicely done. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of questions about the dogs here. A lot of people want to know more. They are dog enthusiasts here on board. Are you going to be available later to answer some questions, maybe at the village?
I will. I have a bunch of the dogs from my race team down in the dog yard there, and you can get up close, pet the dogs, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
All right, we'll look forward to it.